project is called Punch Perfect, and the objective of Punch Perfect is to measure the angular displacement of a person's punch, and as well we want to measure the acceleration of the person's punch. So with the angular displacement of the punch, we'll be able to figure out whether they're turning the right angle. Because generally when you're throwing a punch, your fist is starting off in a vertical position, and once you throw the punch, it turns horizontal to gain that extra leverage and then that extra power. And the reason why we want to know the acceleration of a person's punch, because with the acceleration we can find the force of the person's punch, and with the force we can give the user a feasible number, and with that number we can give them a value that they can strive to beat.
The sensing mechanisms, the sensors we are using are the accelerometer and the gyroscope. The accelerometer uses small crystal structures that come under stress due to accelerating forces. The stress causes a voltage that can be interpreted, which can be determined the velocity and position. The accelerometer can be used for multiple dimensions. The gyroscope senses angular velocity from the Coriolis force applied to the vibrating element, which is then converted into an electrical signal, which can be read through LabVIEW.
Our system uses two types of sensors, an accelerometer and a gyroscope, and each of them have their own transducers to convert physical properties into electrical signals that we could use in our measurements. Well, once we actually get them, we actually have to condition them because there's a lot of frequency, there's a lot of noise, and if we need to, we might have to amplify them. Once we get them and we've filtered them properly, we can actually start reading them and we can start recording them in programs such as LabVIEW. So once we calibrate the sensors, we can actually mount it into an object or we can mount it onto a glove. We can start taking real-life measurements in order to get an ideal value that we can use to compare to a threshold. For example, right now we use Arduino to actually get this threshold, and we actually have an LED that when we go hit the threshold and we exceed a certain threshold in the acceleration, it actually lights up.
So the main application of our sensor system is for boxing. We want to be able to measure the accuracy and quality of a boxer's punch using the parameters that they've set. And in a wider scope, it would be used in any sort of sport that requires a movement. So for example, the end of a baseball bat, able to measure the arc that the bat moved in and the speed that the bat moved in. And so we can also further that into automobiles, for example, any sort of situation where you want to measure the force and the angular displacement of an object, we would be able to use our sensor.